got it right at the end though. Oh, that one went further. Here's another one. Hi, welcome back to another reading vlog. Sorry if I'm talking low. My partner is working from home this morning. Today is Monday, and usually I don't film my reading vlogs so early in advance. Today's a little different. The last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, the last 2 months were just completely busy. And I don't want to say things have slowed down at work because it's still quite busy. There's still quite a lot to do. I didn't even have the chance to read as much. I didn't even have the chance to read as much this month. I think I only read 1 book in October, which is absolutely horrendous. I mean, it was a good book. It ended up being quite good. I'll talk about it at some point. I don't know when. Anyways, earlier you may have seen that I went on just a quick short little walk to the library. I had some books that I needed to return. They were mostly just all my daughter's borrowed library books that were super overdue. She has her own library card. I'm pretty sure it's connected to mine because I'm supposed to get updates on when her books are due, but for some reason I don't think I ever got an email like telling me when her books were due. And I recently just got an email saying that these books have been like 1 month overdue. Luckily, the Toronto Public Library, they do not have any late fees anymore, so I didn't have to pay for anything. I just returned the books. I feel really bad though because like obviously it's a library and I should be returning my books on time. I kind of forgot about her books too. Maybe I did receive the email and I just didn't see it because I get so many emails that I may have just missed the deadline. While I was there, I borrowed a book because this book, I don't know who or when or what book club this is part of. I have to take a look, but I'm pretty sure this is part of a book club and the reason I borrowed this book. And the book that I'm talking about is called Poor Things by Alasdair Gray. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. I also just only noticed that this here is the actress Emma Stone, I think that's her name, and that it's part of like there's a movie about it, so that kind of intrigues me and makes me want to read it. But I have to look and see which book club this is part of that I have to read this for. Another book that I am currently reading and that I'm actually really enjoying is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Now this was not on my fall TBR. It just ended up being available to borrow. I had put it on hold months ago and it was available to borrow I think sometime last week, so I went to pick it up, and then the audiobook ended up being also available on my what do you call that again? Libby. And I've been listening and reading and listening at the same time. I'm on chapter 12 and I'm enjoying this book. There's a little bit of a romance in there, which I'm always kind of like, I'm not a romance person, but this is not predominantly a romance. There just happens to be a romance in it, I guess. I have to keep reading. I think maybe it is mostly romance. It is a fantasy book. It pretty much follows, messing up this name, Qing Yin. She is the daughter of the moon goddess. She has grown up on the moon. She has been hiding, or her mother has been hiding her, because her mother was exiled by the celestial emperor. And so the mother was exiled, the daughter was hidden, and the daughter has some kind of magic. I can't remember what kind of magic exactly she has or whatever, but anyways, her daughter is a magical being, and when her magic flares up, her existence is discovered and she's forced to flee her home. And she pretty much starts living with like, I think like mortals or something, but anyways, in any case, I'm still reading this. It's pretty good. It's a fantasy. I don't also read a lot of fantasy, but I think is it an adult fantasy or is it YA? I have to take a look at that. But yeah, I don't read a lot of fantasy, but this one is pretty easy to follow. It's really nice, written really nicely. It's a pretty thick book actually too, but it reads pretty quickly. The reason that I had this book on hold for so long is because I follow another channel called Miranda Mills, and I just love her channel. It's really comfy, it's really cozy. She lives like in the countryside somewhere in England. She has really cozy videos where she reads books, she has a book club, she makes food, like cooks pies and cakes and, you know, other food, and she lives with her mom and they have this like cute relationship, and I just love them. They both read this book, and they also are not fantasy readers usually, but both mom and daughter read the book and loved it, and so that's why I decided to put it on my TBR. There's also a really nice cover. I don't know if it's like a UK edition or if it's just a limited edition, but I'll put it up here for anybody who's interested in those kinds of things. But it's a really beautiful cover, and like the reason that I just kind of ended up putting it on my TBR, because I just really love really nice covers. I'm hoping that I could finish it today or tomorrow, and then I'm hoping that sometime this week that I could get to this book, Death of a Bookseller. Now, technically this was not on my fall TBR, but Halloween is coming up and I think this book would be perfect. I also have the Libby audiobook that just became available, and so yeah, why not? We're changing it up a bit. Forget about the TBR. I think that's it for now. Other than that, the things that I've been doing lately that are book related other than reading, last week I went to a book market. I forgot to record the whole thing. As soon as I got there, I told myself, oh yeah, I'm gonna record, and I forgot completely to record. But it was also just like a very tight space, and when I was thinking about it after, I thought, oh, you know, like maybe recording would be kind of like awkward with everyone and everything. But anyways, I kind of forgot. There was a few booksellers. There was mostly not so much like crafty things, but like there was some people who like made jewelry that were there. There were people that were selling bookish clothing. There were people who were selling used books. All in all, there weren't that many booksellers. There were just a few booksellers. I ended up purchasing a book from a bookseller, and that was All Lit Up. I've purchased from them before. In another reading vlog, I went to a book festival and they were there, and I purchased from them as well. I purchased this book, The Full Moon Wailing Chronicles by Jason Guriel. It is a Canadian author and a Canadian book. I know people don't like the synopsis being read, but I'll read the synopsis. It's 2070. Newfoundland has vanished. Tokyo is a new Venice, and many people have retreated to Bonsai House, hives that compress matter in a world that's losing ground to rising tide. Enter Kai, an English literature student searching for the reclusive author of a YA classic, a beloved novel about teenage werewolves sailing to a fabled sea monster's nest. Kai's quest will intersect with obsessive fan subcultures, corporate conspiracies, flying gondolas, an anthropomorphic stove, and the molecular limits of reality itself. Okay, that's all I'm gonna read. In terms of the synopsis, there's not much that is being kind of given away. This has been on my TBR for just a little bit. I think since it came out, I do kind of every season go through all of the Canadian publishers that I know of, and I just kind of skim their titles, their upcoming titles, and I'll just kind of add it to my want to read list, and this was one of them. And so yeah, I picked this up at the book festival. It was the only, actually no, it wasn't the only book that I bought, but I'm not gonna show you guys the other books that I bought, only because I may want to do something else with them. So yeah, I'll just do that. But anyway, so I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna continue reading my book. I'll quickly check my email. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do for today. See you, bye. Okay, so I made it to part 2 of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So far, it's pretty good. It is a little bit of more of a romance than I was anticipating, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying. In the story, we follow the Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Her name is, I'm sorry if I messed up the name. Her name is Qingyin, and she is the daughter of the Chinese moon goddess. And her father was an archer, or a very famous archer. I forgot how the father and the mother met. My understanding is that they weren't supposed to be together, and so the celestial emperor banished the Yin-Yin's mother to the moon, and that's how she became the moon goddess. They also had no idea that at the time of her banishment, they had no idea. I'm gonna pause that for a second. Sorry. At the time of her banishment, they also had no idea that the now moon goddess was pregnant, and she pretty much gave birth to a baby, and this baby is Qingyin, and she has magical abilities. I'm not 100% sure what these magical abilities are, but her magic starts to flare up at some point, and her mother, they have to hide the daughter Qingyin. She's forced to flee her home, and they have to hide her because they don't want anybody to know that this daughter exists, because nobody really knows that this daughter exists, and they want to keep her safe. They send her to the celestial kingdom. She disguises her identity, and she also seizes the opportunity to train alongside the emperor's son. The emperor, I believe, is the emperor who banished her mother in the first place. She meets the emperor's son, and they start to fall in love. And yeah, usually I'm not one for, like a romance like this, but they've fallen in love, but the emperor's son has been betrothed to somebody else, and it seems like Qingyin has to kind of let him go. So at the end of part 1, she just kind of says, what does she say? She just says, because he tries to explain to her that, I'm sorry, this is not what I wanted, this is not what I intended. I wanted to tell my parents about us, but then they told me that I was betrothed to somebody. And she says, I understand, I do, but I must leave. So she leaves, and that's the end of part 1, and we're going into part 2 now. So, and there's like a lot of book left, and so I'm interested in, I want to know more, because now she's a really good archer. She's gonna be part of, like, I guess, like their army. I'm gonna call it a magical army, because they have magic, right? So she's part of this army, and also her identity, people don't know who she is. They also have no idea who her mother is and who her father is, whatever, they don't know who she is. And so I'm curious to find out, how that all unravels. So I will continue this book, but I'm kind of like, I want to move on to another book. My mind is kind of in other places, and I kind of want to move on to another book. And it's not because this is not good, but I feel like I'm being pulled in another direction. So I'm gonna actually pick up Death of a Bookseller, and I'm gonna read that for a little bit and see how that goes. I do have to pick up my daughter very soon from school, so I'm gonna read up until that point, and yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. Hi everyone. This week ended up being a not so great week for me. I was really sick yesterday and a little bit the day before, but mainly yesterday. I had a terrible migraine. I literally could not function. I couldn't look at my screen. I couldn't work. Like, I just couldn't look at my computer screen for too long. I couldn't get up. Like, I just had to lay down. My head was like hurting like all along this side, and then it started moving over to the other side, and like I couldn't turn my head, and it was just horrible. Because I was not feeling so good yesterday, I didn't even have the opportunity to film my reading wrap up. I had wanted to film like a September reading wrap up, which is a long time coming, but since it's the end of October, it's already October 27. I think what I'll do is I'll just combine both September and October. I didn't get to read that much in October anyways, so just combining the two will just make sense. Today I am going to read Death of a Bookseller, and I started it already. I'm on page 130, and as I always say, it's pretty good. So far, I'm liking it. I seem to always say the same things. What else can I say about this book? It's really capturing my attention. It's unlike any mystery / bookstore book I've ever read, because both kind of subgenres are combined into one. So you have the mystery kind of effect, but it's not a mystery yet, but you know, you have that kind of, what should I call it? There's a chilling scenes that are taking place throughout the book. So in this book, we're following two characters, both of them who work at a bookstore. One of them is I guess like one of the sales associates of this bookstore, and her name is Roach, and she really enjoys reading true crime and listening to true crime podcasts. Essentially, she's a true crime fangirl. And she's a true crime fangirl to the point where we're questioning how far is her true crime about to go, because she's too much into it. She's very much more interested in the serial killers themselves than in the people that have been harmed by these serial killers. You know, her focus is more on the serial killers. And that's what makes it, chilling. That's what makes her kind of like an eerie, kind of uncomfortable character to be around. The uncomfortableness of her is felt by the other character, whose name is Laura. Laura was just hired at this bookstore. We find out some things about her as we're reading on. I won't say anything. Roach starts to become kind of obsessed with Laura, and Laura is very uncomfortable with how obsessed Roach is with her, or not even how obsessed she is, but like just how much attention she just wants from her. Like, Roach just wants so much attention from Laura, and Laura's just like, no, I don't want to be around you. There's certain things that start to happen within the story where Roach's obsessiveness she latches onto Laura quite instantly, and the obsession just starts and just keeps on going, and she doesn't seem to anyways, I'm not gonna say anymore. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'm enjoying this book, and I honestly think that I could finish it today because it's actually that good. It keeps you on edge from beginning to hopefully the end, because I'm midway. So I'm going to continue reading this book. I have a nice, let me show you what I have. I have a nice background going. This one is a witchy coffee shop, I think is what they called it, or just like a witch coffee shop. So that's all. I hope I'm not too blurry here, but okay, so that's all for now. So I'm going to continue reading, and yeah, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
I retrace my steps, circle the black ants, examine the anxiety that lingers. Have I done anything wrong? Anything bad? Have I said anything I shouldn't? Have I kissed anyone?
Hi everyone, so it is the next day after Halloween and it was a pretty successful and fun Halloween. My daughter, she was really happy with all the candies that she received doing trick-or-treating. We went a little bit further than we did last year, and when we got home we got to hand out a few candies to a few more trick-or-treaters who were late night trick-or-treating, I guess. In terms of reading for the week, it wasn't as successful. I only ended up reading and finishing one book, and that was Death of a Bookseller. I found it to be quite fast-paced, on the edge, a very interesting topic. You know, it delves into the obsession that viewers, listeners, people have with true crime and murder mysteries. How far are we willing to go with our obsession, and whose lives are at stake as a result of our obsession? Yeah, this book kind of delves into that. It delves into one of the main characters. Her name is Roach, and she's obsessed with true crime. And the other main character, Laura, feels very uncomfortable around Roach and it's very uncomfortable for a reason around Roach because of past history. I won't say anything. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but I'll try to delve into it a little bit more at my end of the month wrap up. So yeah, I think that's it for this vlog. I haven't started to edit this video, so I'm not actually 100% sure how long it's gonna be, but we did do a lot of activities. We did get into the fall vibes, which was really fun and really great, and we ended up having a really fun Halloween, which I'm really happy about. The only thing I didn't do was read enough books. I wish I read more books, but I'm gonna try again for the month of November. I'm gonna see how many books I'm gonna have to read this month. Instead of having a kind of November TBR, I know I have a fall TBR that I need to address. I do have some other reading that I needed to get done like in September and October that I'm moving into November, so I might actually do a tackling. That's what it was called. Oh my gosh, the words I keep forgetting, it's so annoying. So yeah, I'm gonna do a video tackling my November TBR, and I'll probably just try to make one large reading vlog, just so I'm not doing a weekly or trying to make a weekly reading vlog, just because it's a challenge for me, and it's just, there's a lot of work that goes into making a weekly reading vlog, and I think doing it by month I think will be better. So in any case, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I hope you yourself had a nice Halloween and that you got to maybe trick or treat, and or if you don't celebrate Halloween, I hope that you had a really nice day. It's getting cold out there, so keep yourselves warm. I know I am. I'm wearing my sweater, and I will see you in the next vlog.